A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is the 13th May 2020. Day is Wednesday. And I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by John Wayne. It's about courage. A few days ago as well, we were talking about courage. Let me take you through the quote first. Courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. Basically, courage is not absence of fear. It is the presence of fear. You can feel the fear, but then as well, you are standing up and then you are moving ahead. That's what courage is all about. And I think if we observe our day, if we observe few moments throughout our day, then I'm sure we will find few occasions where we have to practice courage, right? Tiny, subtle courage on regular basis. So I want you guys to think about it. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ has launched a smart course. This smart course is for Civil Services Examination. This course is designed by some of the best faculties of our country. EMI option is also available, but it is available only till 20th May 2020. So make the most out of it. If you want to know more about it, right, all you have to do is download our application on your mobile phone. To download the PDF of today's discussion, today's lecture, check out my Telegram channel. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And dear friends, if you want to get in touch with me, then you can send me your messages on FB. Today, we have 6 articles on our table. All of them are from the Hindu newspaper. I have one question for you. The 26th session of Conference of Parties, or COP26, is going to be in 2021. Can you give me the name of those 2 nations that are going to co-host this COP21, I beg your pardon, COP26 session in 2021? Options on your screen. Stick your answer in the comment section. Now, the first one is about state finances. State finances means states, right? State governments are not doing that great as far as money is concerned, as far as their finances are concerned. They are nearly dry. They are in red. And the reason is quite simple. Incoming money from liquor sales, from stamp duty, from petroleum products, right? It's basically collapsed, right? Incoming money is nearly, it's nearly stopped. And outgoing expenses, there are few fixed expenses like paying salaries to your staff. You have to pay it, right? So that is something that is this money is outgoing money. Then your social sector schemes are there. Then you have borrowed loans and you are paying interest on these loans. So outgoing money is as it used to be, but there are a few variable expenses that have gone up, like you have to spend more on health infrastructure, in testing people, in treatment, in quarantining people, and there are so many other things. So, in a nutshell, I can say that incoming is nearly off, outgoing means in big numbers. So, of course, states are in red. So, what states want now is they want central government to provide more funds to them. They want RBI to provide or allow or to relax rules so that states can borrow more money from RBI. And it's not that state is having huge amount, or central government is having huge amount of money. Central government is also not in a very happy financial place. It recently announced an increase in its borrowing by half from this fiscal, so it's somewhere around 12 lakh crore rupees. I'm sure we have discussed about this thing yesterday itself. Isn't it yesterday or day before yesterday? We were talking about this 12 lakh crore rupees. It apportioned almost all the benefits of falling oil prices through increasing duties. 13 rupees a litre on petrol and 16 rupees a litre on diesel in 2 tranches. But it's not big, means it's big amount in a sense, but the way we are spending money after this coronavirus battle, it's not that big. Now, there are few experts, there are few states, they are saying that central government should relax this fiscal deficit levels of the state from current 3% to 4.5%. So if you don't know what this is all about, then let me tell you that just like our national GDP, right, every state, they have their gross state domestic product, which is known as GSDP. Now, let's say that X states this year's GDP or GSDP is 100 rupees, right? So GSDP of one state is 100 rupees. So the maximum fiscal deficit that you can have is 3%, right? That's a rule. Fiscal deficit is when your incoming is less compared to your outgoing, right? So it should be maximum at 3% of your GSDP. That's the rule, right? I'm not going into too basics. I believe you are aware about this sort of things, right? So from this 3% or 3% of 100 rupees is 3 rupees. So it should be increased to 4.5 rupees or 4.5%. That's what they are saying. That so basically, if you allow this rise in this fiscal deficit target, right, from 3% to 4.5, then states can borrow more money and they can use this money for fighting this COVID-19 or this coronavirus war. The states should at least be able to borrow more. That's what the bottom line is. And this article is also talking about one thing that, and we are going to talk about the same thing in next one or two articles. Again, in a nutshell, it's saying that this editorial is saying that, see, all states are not, are not in that severe COVID-19 situation. We have so many districts, right? They are totally green. We have so many states. They are doing quite well. They are nearly, like say for example, Goa. Goa has, as far as I know, 0 cases now, right? It had some 3 or 4 cases, but it has done with it, and Goa is clean now. So there are so many districts, and we have this case as well, that we have this variety, we have this diversity in cases as well. Like in a state, maybe 1 or 2 cities are heavily infected, but the other parts of that particular state or other districts are reasonably doing well. In a city as well, we have 1 or 2 areas they are heavily infected. The rest of the city is clean. So basically, state governments should be allowed this freedom to restart economic activity based on their own assessment. Give them this freedom. Let us have a customized plan for grassroots level. That's what this editorial is saying. Moving on to next item. This one is about Supreme Court, Jammu and Kashmir, and this internet ban. So first of all, let me tell you, give you an introduction about what's going on. At present, Jammu and Kashmir, you can have only 2G. 4G is restricted. So a petition was filed in Supreme Court, and it was expected that Supreme Court will restore 4G services in Jammu and Kashmir, but rather than that, Supreme Court, as per this editorial, has failed to discharge a judicial duty it was called upon to perform. Article 32 of Indian Constitution clearly states that to enforce fundamental rights, Supreme Court has all the powers under Article 32 to enforce fundamental rights. Right, and what Supreme Court has done is, rather than enforcing these fundamental rights, which is one of its its main duty, Supreme Court has transferred this whole thing to executives. What Supreme Court has done is, Supreme Court has asked 2 secretaries at union level, or Government of India secretaries, and Chief Secretary of Jammu and Kashmir. So Supreme Court has asked them to consider the case made out by the petitioner for restoring 4G services. Rather than taking a stand, the Supreme Court has said that these executives should look after this whole thing, like what is your opinion and things like that. We have one Anuradha Bhasin guidelines or Anuradha Bhasin case where Supreme Court itself set some rules regarding these restrictions. If you are imposing restrictions, particularly on fundamental rights, then you must adhere to the doctrine of proportionality. Doctrine of proportionality means use proper logic. It should be, if you're restricting fundamental rights, then it should be logical, it should be rational, it should be digestible, it should have some, but it should definitely have common sense in it. So here the big question is that 2G or 4G, right? Means, is it like if you allow 4G, then more terrorist attacks will take place? Is there any sort of evidence based on this thing, or is there any theory that has proved this thing? If not, then why state or the people of this Jammu and Kashmir, not state but the union territory, Jammu and Kashmir, why people are not allowed, or they are not enjoying 4G services? They are also going through lockdown, and just like us, we also need something to entertain us, right? means so many people nowadays, like generally speaking, I'm not saying everyone, but many people are watching movies, series, Netflix and Prime videos, etc. And they are reading or downloading so many things, learning guitar and cooking, all these things they are doing using their 4G services or their broadband or internet services. So if 4G is not allowed, then people of Jammu and Kashmir, right, they are not enjoying their internet nowadays. The first state in our country was Kerala to say that Kerala's High Court was the first one to declare that access to internet is a fundamental right, and it is one of the most important thing in today's world. Internet, right? You can do so many things. Means your benefits, your business, so many things you can run via internet. So here again, doctrine of proportionality is very important. The central government has said that to prevent terrorists misusing this internet, and they are basically disturbing peace and tranquility. So this is the reason why it has barred this 4G services, and there has been a spike in incident of terrorism. 108 incidents between 5th August 2019 to 25th April 2020. So this is a reason given by states on this, barring this 4G services. So let's see what happens next. Moving on to next item. This article is written by Italian ambassador to India. And he's talking about, basically the whole theme is India and Italy and a common thread in partnership. What are the common things in our partnership? And here, of course, COVID-19 is going to be the core of this article, or core of our partnership now and in forthcoming future. So on 4th May, both nations, Italy and India, right, they decided they will unite and they will fight against this COVID-19 scenario. We have a lockdown 3.0, they have a phase 2, and both things are basically the same. It is about protecting our people, protecting our economies and societies from this virus. And the second is to, as quickly as possible, restore our normal life, restore our economy, right, allow freedom and, unlock our economy as well as society as quickly as possible. At the same time, making sure that we don't see second or third wave of this coronavirus. So, and of course, on the one side, you have to find your cure or medicine or vaccine for this thing. Just like India, Italy is also a country whose economy has a solid manufacturing base. One thing that I would like to add about Italy is, I've never been there, but I know it's a very beautiful place. There are a few things that I know about Italy is that they are extremely good in designing products. Look at their sunglasses, their cars, their infrastructure. There are so many things. Their clothing lines, right? So many things. I can go on and on. We have so many examples about that. Even if you see their electronic gadgets, right? They are very good in designing things. I think India is good in assembling things, manufacturing as well to an extent. But one thing that means this thing is not covered here in this article, but I would like to add it here as an extra point. It's very important, and it's relevant with today's news item as well. I'll take you through the news item in a minute. India is good with, I'm not saying best, I'm saying good, right? We have to improve. So we are okay or good with production. Right, good with assembling, of course, and we can improve in that area as well. Italy is best or excellent or outstanding in designing things. So what we need is, we need a marriage between design in India, which can be supported by Italy, and we can have make in India or made in India. You know what I mean? So we need to merge these two things: designing abilities or qualities of Italy and production qualities of India. If we can merge these two things, then we can have exceptional products and services. So this is a thing that I want you guys to think about right now. Digital embassy. What Italy has started, they have started this digital embassy. It's not just about embassies and high commissioners. It's about their other aspects like industries. It's about so many tools and processes, things that we can do online or virtually. We can interact and support nationals, businesses, so many things we can do online. So Italy has started doing, it has rolled out this project of digital embassy. And there are other things that we know that everyone is doing around the world, like wearing a proper mask, thermal scanning is going on, frequent sanitization is important, and the ambassador is also saying that adequate distancing or physical distancing is the right word. Social distancing is not the right word. And I think I agree with him, right? Social distancing is not something that when you interact with someone, when you're physically near to that person, then only you will have social. You can have social distancing nowadays on WhatsApp call or video calling, right? You can stay in touch with any person via technology, but it's more about physical. When we want to fight against coronavirus, it's all about physical distancing. Italian government has already provided guarantees up to 500 billion euros. Now, guarantees, let me throw some more light on this thing. It's not a package. It's not a sort of, in a way, it's a package, but it's not like Italian government is going to inject 500 billion euros in economy. It's a guarantee. So let's say if a small company has borrowed a loan from a bank, right? This is a bank and this is that small company. It has borrowed a loan of, let's say, 1 lakh rupees, for example. And if this company is not able to pay this, if this loan is government guaranteed, then bank will not lose this money. If this person cannot pay or this company cannot pay, then government will pay this 1 lakh rupees, right? So this is what guarantee is all about. Now, this article is also talking about a few things, or like it's talking about G20, like internationally or multilaterally, there are a few opportunities where both nations can work with each other. Italy is going to be the head of G20 in 2021 and 2022. India is going to be head of, or presidency will be, president at that point of time will be India. So this is the right time, like from now on, both nations can work together for future of G20 as well as the world. And there are so many things that we can do, we can start doing right now that will have a long lasting impact, as well as we can see results in a few years time or in near future, like taking advantage of our economic complementarity, strengthening our partnership based on shared values, thriving, creating industries, scientific knowledge, technological prowess, development of rules-based international system of promoting just trade, inclusive growth, and realization of 2030 agenda, that is sustainable development goal. So in a nutshell, Mr. Ambassador is saying that we need to maintain two things: innovation and sustainability. Innovation is important for the new normal. We are living in a new reality now, new world, right? Social distancing and all these things, lockdown. These all things are new things. So we need new ideas, new methods, new processes, new devices to make our new normal as possible, as easy as possible. And second thing is, it should be sustainable. Sustainability, he is talking about. He basically gave this quote that I don't know who wrote this quote, but I'm sure we have read this one or came across this one, that we did not inherit the earth from our ancestor, we borrow it from our children, isn't it? Getting cash transfers out of a jam. This one is about jam Trinity. It all started back in 2015, economic survey of 2015. This thing was mentioned for the first time, jam Trinity. That means you have Jantan, Aadhaar and mobile. We have talked about this thing early on as well, so you know how it works, right? It works in combination. That's why it is called Trinity. So you have, I'll throw some more light just in case if you are a new student. So you have your Jantan account, then you need to seed your Aadhaar card and mobile number with your Jantan account. And when you buy your mobile phone, you have to through KYC you seed your Aadhaar with your mobile. So let's say if you want to transfer 500 rupees, if government wants to transfer 500 rupees to a person like a benefit, then it can do directly via this jam Trinity. It can go directly into that person's account, and that person cannot have duplication because of Aadhaar. You can have only one account and mobile number. And so for a very long period of time, this jam or jam Trinity is said that it is one of the best thing and utopian thing. And Amitabh Kant, I think he said this thing in 2015 or 16. He said that in next 2.5 years, India will make all its debit cards, credit cards, all ATM machines, all POS, point of sale machines, totally irrelevant, because every Indian will be doing his transaction just by using his thumb in 30 seconds. He said somewhere, let's say he said this thing in 2016. We are living in 2020. Are you doing everything just using your thumb? Of course, no. So this article is saying that this thing has failed. Jam Trinity means it's not 100% perfect tool. Jam was often invoked as a possible tool of emergency relief, but it is not. It is better to use MGNREGA job card if you want to help poor people. Like few weeks ago, Government of India came out with this stimulus package, and in this stimulus package, the poor household, poor lady will get 500 rupees per month for next 3 months, isn't it? So we have talked about this Jandan or this Jandan account and this not getting or not receiving money thing 1 or 2 days ago. So I'm not repeating all those items, but to be very precise and brief here, MGNREGA job cards are used every month because you're not getting your wages every month. So they are more transparent and more well organized compared to your Jandan account, because so many Jandan accounts are dormant, right? And so many of them are blocked because eKYC is not done on them. 2 studies were conducted by 2 different bodies. One was by Yale University. So they did a study and they found that half of poor adult women have a JDY account. And Dalberg study found in 10 states that only 57% of or at least one adult woman has a JDY account is just 57%. So roughly, let's say only 50% of adult women, they have Jandan account. So if you are sending money in all these Jandan accounts that are in name of ladies, then you are basically shooting your arrow in the dark, right? We have this see here, middle class female friends, they have also received SMS alerts informing that their account is credited with 500 rupees of relief money. They don't need this 500 money, then as well money is going into their account. So this article is saying that better use MGNREGA's job card or other social security pension, so that you can have proper accurate data like who are working under MGNREGA. The lady who is working under MGNREGA, she is a poor lady. So best is to use, if you want to transfer the money, but make sure that if you want to do it digitally, then you should have data of MGNREGA, and then only transfer the money. And it is also saying, and this is I think right for our country, there are few pockets or few states and in few regions basically in our country where you can, in those places, if you transfer money, they will not feel that happy. But if you give them cash in hand, then they will feel great. They will feel that government is giving money to them and government is supporting them. And this is a reality. It's not just just for saying we are saying this or discussing this. This is reality. If you have been to countryside, rural India, then there are many people. If you give them 500 rupee note, they will not feel that great. But if you give them 500 rupees note, right, then they will say that they will think that they have got huge, good money. So this is the thing. So there are a few states like in Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, they have started giving cash on hand, right? Cash in hand. They are giving this relief payments during lockdown is given in cash. So we can do this thing, right? This is also not bad. Moving on to COVID-19 and the path ahead. Very easy to understand article. I'm going to be very brief here. We know that we have seen this geographical differences with COVID-19 spread. And it's not just about healthcare facilities. In India, we have just 71,000 cases. If you see the comparison, compare it with our population, then 71,000 cases is not that bad. But if you see USA and UK, they have 13 lakh plus cases. UK 2,24,000 plus cases, and death rate is quite high as well in these countries. There are many people, they say that it is because our population is quite young. It could be one of the reason, but it's not 100% proved. We have seen young people as well. Their recovery rate is good, but it's not that they will not get infected of this coronavirus. Of course, elderly people, right, they are more vulnerable. This is something that is quite common. Then people are saying that low temperature and low absolute humidity has been suggested as factors influencing transmission. Again, we need to prove this theory. Genetic variation may be also a possible explanation. Yes, if you compare with enzyme in men and women, they are different. So men are more, you can say, more vulnerable to COVID-19 compared to women. And we have this 2003 SARS epidemic, South Asian region, African countries, right? They were nearly, we were okay. We were not affected that much. So early adoption or early lockdown could be one of the reason, right? Then our large chunk of population, they are living in rural areas, so this could be one of the reason. So there are many hypotheses. We don't have any proper one particular answer for this thing, but what we need to do is basically improve our medical facilities as much as we can and protect the most vulnerable people. This relaxation as well should be step by step. You can allow the healthy population to step out. They have to follow this safety norms, but we can allow healthy population, and then vulnerable people, they have to stay indoors, like those who are already not well in terms of if they have some other diseases, comorbidities, then they have to stay indoors. And elderly people and kids, they have to stay indoors. A young healthy population can be allowed if they maintain all this social distance and other things, or not social distance, physical distance, of course. Then riding roughshod over state governments. This one is about, this article is saying that this top-down approach is unconstitutional. Disaster Management Act of 2005, and under this Disaster Management Act 2005, what Government of India is doing is it is imposing strict measures on states. It is enforcing things on states, and this is unconstitutional. You know that Ministry of Home Affairs has divided districts into 3 different colors. Red is, red, then you have yellow, and then you have this orange, and then you have a green districts, right? Green are the safest, and red are the most dangerous as far as COVID-19 cases are concerned. So this article is saying that in our federal system, states and central government, they are equal. It's not that states are subordinate of central government, and it's not that central government is superior. There are few things like as far as unity of India is concerned, there are few powers that are in union government or central government's end. But that does not make states their subordinates. Few states have said that give us freedom. Let us decide what we want to do with our districts. Because as I told you earlier on as well, let's say you have this big district and only one small corner of this district is under red zone. Or what you are doing is central government has painted this whole district with red color rather than just this tiny area. If you can control this tiny area, then the rest of the portion is green. So let states decide what they want to do. Let the district administration decide what they want to do, what they think is best. Then I'm sure you are aware about this 3 lists that we have in our constitution. Union list, there is list 1, then you have state list 2, and then you have concurrent list 3. I believe I don't have to give more explanation on this thing, but very briefly, list 1, only central government can make changes or make laws on this, the items that you find in list 2. States can make laws on, only states can make laws on on the things that are in list 2. And list 3, both of them can do changes, but if there is a clash on one point, then central government's point will be considered, right? So this is how it is, how it works in our constitution. Now, Article 73 and 162, right, which I've already said that central and state governments can only take executive actions in matter where parliament and state legislature respectively have powers to legislate, and they are co-extensive. Disaster management is not in list 2, list 3, and it does not have any particular entry in list 1. So you cannot enforce this thing on central on state governments. Then public health and sanitation falls in list 2. That means state have exclusive right to legislate and act on matters concerning to public health. The central government should not step into this thing. Then, as I told you, that federalism is a basic feature of our constitution. Supreme Court has held this thing time and again. and you cannot alter this thing. States are also sovereign, they are not subordinates. So this article is saying that this Enforcement of Epidemic or Disaster Management Act on states is unconstitutional, and what you can do basically is you have to make states your partners rather than your subordinates. So that's what this article is all about. News item, one of the most important news item, Prime Minister has announced 20 lakh crore economic stimulus package, and he has talked about 5 pillars: economy, infrastructure, system, demography and demand. These are our 5 pillars. We have to build our India again on these 5 pillars. And he talked about being self-reliant, right? Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India. We have to produce locally, consume more local products. That does not mean that you will start hating international products, but it's about making best products here in our country and using more and more Indian products. He talked about International Solar Alliance, like he said that this is a gift from India to the world. And Arogya Setu app is mandatory for returning NRIs. India caught in US China spat over Taiwan's status at WHO. A few weeks ago, we were talking about Taiwan. Remember that Taiwan is not part of WHO. Now, India is going to be the next chairperson of the WHO's decision-making executive body in May. So this question will come to us whether China does not want Taiwan to be or to get an observer status at WHA, and USA wants Taiwan to get back on board. So we are going to be in a difficult situation. Industrial output shrank 16.7% in March. And that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much for watching this video. God bless you all. Jai Hind.